there. Andy Murray doing like Andy Murray thing where he's playing a 3-hour, 40-minute, loses to Mahak, who's an impressive young player, knows one speed, hits it as hard as he can, switches directions every time. Murray tweaked an ankle a little bit, was able to finish, thankfully. If you're able to finish, doesn't mean nothing happened. Means it's probably going to be a 3 or 4 day thing where you're walking a little gingerly, but there's not a lot of people who tear ligaments in their ankle and then are able to play another 5 or 6 games. So I'm not too worried about that. What I am curious about with Murray is what his schedule will be moving forward. You know, he has said, you know, I don't think I'm going to play much past the summer. We don't know if that's English summer at Wimbledon, where he has that moment, and that's kind of what I hope for as a fan, selfishly. I'd love for that to be the last. It just seems fitting that the last time we see him play would be at Wimbledon on center court, where he created so much history. He dealt with so much pressure. I played him in a semi there, and for 2 days going in, he had the front 7 pages of the sports section. Just what kind of bar did he eat during practice type thrilling coverage. And so I hope he gets that moment. But how much is he going to play on the clay? Like, it's not doing him any favors. He's not going to make, you know, the semis of a Masters series there. The balance between, you know, making sure he's ready, because the thing that just causes me stress when I'm thinking about this whole thing is if he's on the clay and somehow gets hurt and then has to play Queens, which he's won, I think, 5 times. There were a bunch of us who had won it 4 times, and I think he just cruised right past us. You just want to make sure that he is totally dialed for the grass court season, because that is a surface where he can be the most effective. Can he make the quarters of a grass court major? Maybe. And that's the only time that I probably would say maybe at this point. So wouldn't be surprised to see him play a challenger in Surbiton before Queens, before Wimbledon. But leaving Miami with a thrill, still in doubles with Seb Korda. So we'll get a little bit of batting practice to finish out his Miami career, which he's, hey, listen, most of the tournaments you go ahead, he's won it before because he's been that great. But it's weird. I've been thinking more and more about this. And we had a topic where some dummy was basically questioning whether this version of Murray, this kind of struggle, you know, physical struggle, but like mentally still there version of Murray that we've been watching for the last 4 years somehow tarnished his legacy, which I thought was one of the fucking dumber things I've heard. I actually think it's the other way. It's like you can see the physical compromise. He brings you in. He was like kind of a polarizing guy for a while, because I can relate to it, because what we did on court is different than the way we probably presented off the court. And we were, you know, crazy sometimes, and he was surly and yelling at his box. And so early on, people thought he was this like mopey guy, and they didn't realize his intelligence. They didn't realize how thoughtful he was. And I think seeing someone physically compromised and knowing that they know what they once were, it's almost brought fans in. Like, they were going crazy for him in this last match in Miami. And that's kind of been standard fare, is like when he's in the gutter going through these absolute grind fests with guys that, you know, he frankly would have beaten in straight sets when healthy. I think it's added to his legacy. I don't think it's taken a thing away. I think it's brought fans in. I think it's made him a fan favorite, which outside of Great Britain, for most of his career, I think people respected him. I think people liked him, but it wasn't this out and out, like, you have our support through thick and thin. And I think this has created that. I think it's created a connection to the fans, which, looking back in 10 or 15 years, I think he's going to be thrilled about. I think these are his legacy years, and I think it's been awesome. So if you disagree with me, that's fine. Also sucks. I'll tell you when I'm wrong. I think I'm right on this one, though.